to 3 Idiots with Internet. I'm your host, Blake.
I'm Chris, and there's no Sam Cam again, unfortunately. So as we already talked about in the last episode, Sam is concussed. But here, instead of doing a special guest Friday this week, we decided we're going to do a fantasy football special. If this blows up, we decided that we're going to do this every single week if you guys really do enjoy. It's going to be a short, quick, easy 10-minute episode. And to start off, we're going to talk about waiver ads. Blake, want to start us off?
Yeah, so first ad for people in your leagues, in your 12-person, 10-person, 12-person leagues, there's going to be a lot of these players that are going to be on there and some of them not, because if you're in a very sweaty league, some of these won't be on there at all. And first one that's probably in most of your leagues, Matt Breida. In fantasy's projected 10.2 points. They're playing, I think, the Chargers. Are they playing? Yep. The Chargers. And the Chargers, I think, have been, I'm not 100%, I think they have been struggling on the run. And so I think Matt Breida could have not field day, but like have a decent day getting his projection or even more.
Another one is Duke Johnson. David Johnson went down with a concussion, so we could see Duke Johnson coming up next game, maybe being the starter. So I'd pick him up. He might not start, but he's still a waiver pickup. Another one is Tevin Coleman. He might be on waivers. He just got hurt, but he's looking like he's coming back next week. And if he does come back, he will be the starter. So watch out for him. Another one is under the radar all year is J.D. McKissick. He's been the receiving back for the football team. So if he's still on waivers, you got to go pick him up and maybe start him next week. Another one is Richie James. Had 33 points last week. Phenomenal game by him. He is definitely a waiver pickup. Another one is, I'll take a little more time to talk about this one, Zach Moss.
He is proving himself,
Yep,
Zach Moss.
He is going to be the starters for the Bills going in the future. I think Singletary is...
If you have Devin Singletary, I would say drop him. Not drop him or get some sort of trade value for him.
Trade him away.
And
that's the guy you should trade away.
But going to the season, Devin Singletary was going to be their number one, and he was. But Zach Moss has proven to be their number one, and they're using him as their number one.
He stepped up.
Yep.
Another one is Christian Kirk. He's had the last 3 games he's played over 15 points in each game. Phenomenal job. I think he had 20 points over in 2 of them. He's looked amazing. I'd consider him a starter at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Tua Tagovailoa is another one you guys should look into if you need a backup QB.
Yes, if your quarterback's on a bye or anything like that, go for Tua because
he's got some good weapons with Devontae Parker. He's got Gesicki.
Mike Gesicki. Who else?
Who's the other wide receiver they have?
Jakeem Grant. Or is
that
Grant, whatever. His last name's Grant. But Tua he's getting more and more. He's getting better. His first week starting wasn't very good, carried by their defensive course. This week he proved himself, beating the Cardinals, one of the best teams in the whole entire NFL. Very good offense. I think they had, going into that week, the Cardinals did have the number 1 offense statistically in the NFL, and they beat them.
Yep, they got him.
And another one, if he is on your waivers, he should be picked up by now. Justin Herbert. He has proved himself in this NFL, and he's going to continue to do well as he's been doing since he's got the starting job.
Yes,
and we love Justin Herbert here.
Yes, we do.
He's going to continue to do well. They may still lose, but he's still going to give you points. Very good amount of points. And the last one, Curtis Samuel. If he is on your waivers, pick him up.
Go get him, guys.
Because he has been, I think, without McCaffrey, but even with McCaffrey, he has been sort of their number 1 player. Because they've used him in the run game in the past 3 weeks. He has 2 rushing touchdowns, or 2 or 3. He has three rushing touchdowns and like 4.
And he's explosive when he does it. He's a real deal back there.
Yeah, he's a big dude. He's like 6 foot, 215 pounds. He's the size of a running back playing wide receiver. And if you have him, he's gonna get you consistent 12, 13 points a game, and get him.
Go on and get him. And for most of you fantasy leagues, the trade deadline, if it already hasn't come, it is coming up very, very soon. So a guy you guys should really look into, someone who fantasy owners might not value that much because he plays for the football team, Terry McLaurin. Mm-hmm. He's had a phenomenal year.
Absolutely.
That's someone you gotta go get him now. Go trade one of your backup wide. Go trade like your second string wide receiver because he's a number 1 guy back there. Trade a big name.
Mm-hmm. He's their number 1 receiver. Cool. He's been recruited to a captain on that team. He's taken off a lot of responsibility on that Washington football team.
Exactly.
And he's going to continue to do well no matter what quarterback is because he's their number 1 target.
Another guy is James Conner. Rough week last week. Only 4 or 6 points. Something really low. Go get him now. Fantasy owners might be anxious to get rid of him after seeing such a low-scoring game.
And Pittsburgh's schedule coming up is looking very favorable when it comes to the run defense. And I think they're going to continue to use James Conner because they like their Pittsburgh, even though they have great wide receivers, they still love to run the football.
Exactly.
more than anyone except Baltimore, of course.
Yep.
And I think no matter what, Connor's going to be putting up double digits for the rest of the season when it comes to it. So if you got him, if you can trade for him, go ahead.
Another one is James Robinson. He's a name that no one's really looked at, really.
Yeah, he's been
But
putting
he's
up lot of
a
points.
top 5 running back in fantasy football. Go get him. People might not be valuing him that much. Go get him. Next guy is Emmanuel Sanders. He's been consistent.
Yes,
Consistent.
very,
13,
very...
15, 12, 11.
And people thought with Michael Thomas coming back this week, Emmanuel Sanders was going to fall off or not do as
13.
well. And I guess people are taking it. People are like, "Oh, Michael Thomas is back. Let's focus on him." While Emmanuel Sanders is getting open, scoring touchdowns like he's been doing without Michael Thomas. So I think if you can trade for him, he can definitely. People are going to underrate his value for him. You can probably get like close to nothing for him at this point, and he'll still give you a good amount of points.
Yep. Another guy is for the tight end situation with you guys. Some of you guys losing George Kittle. One guy, we have 2 guys. Eric Ebron. The tight end for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's had a great year, especially lately. Ben started to use him more and more and more.
Ben's getting used to it.
Every single
He's getting
week.
used
He's
to
getting
the
used
tight
to
ends.
Ebron on that crossing route with Ebron. He's got 2 touchdowns in the last couple weeks. He's looked really good. And another guy is Gronk.
If Gronk is a great trade target because he's definitely going to be lower valued because of how many weapons Tampa has on that offense, but still Tom Brady's #1 target. We got to remember Tom Brady played with Gronk for the last almost 10 years on the Patriots, so you can't break that. That connection will never leave. Tom Brady's still targeting him, and before this game, of course, versus the Saints, where they played terrible, Tom Brady and Gronk's connection in the red zone was instant. It was there.
Some things just don't go away. Jacoby Myers, he's got over 12 points in the last 3 games.
If you can pick him up, he can honestly, he's probably on your waivers, and if he's not, try to trade for him. Definitely a low target. He's currently Cam Newton's favorite target on that Patriots team.
Yeah.
He's gotten used to throwing the ball to him. For example, he dropped 28 points last night against the Jets. Even though it is the Jets, it's still 28 fantasy points. 176 receiving yards. I think like 11 targets, something like that. Great waiver pickup or fantasy or trade or whatever.
Yeah. Other guys, Will Fuller. Low name, fantastic year.
Absolutely.
Green Bay failed to trade for him in real life. But we think you guys should trade for him in fantasy. Get him now. He's starting maybe a wide receiver 1, high 2. He's looked really good. He's Deshaun Watson's #1 target. Blake doesn't like Deshaun Watson, but I think he's an okay quarterback. A little above average. But
Fuller's their guy.
Fuller's their guy, and he's going to be used.
People underestimate Will Fuller because last year he had a terrible fantasy football season. This year he's been consistent as almost any wide receiver in this league.
So, bust for this fantasy football week. 1, we got Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon will be playing the Pittsburgh Steelers run defense this week, and just for that one guy back there, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers will be able to shut him down.
Next we got Kyler Murray. I chose this. I think Kyler Murray will bust this week because we saw last week what the Buffalo defense was able to do to Russell Wilson, and I think they're going to do the same thing with Kyler. Even though they have Christian Kirk and DeAndre Hopkins, the safety set on the Buffalo Bills is one of the best in the entire league. Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer. In the last episode, we talked about Jordan Poyer. Jordan Poyer is amazing. They got the corners and Tre'Davious White. They have decent linebackers. Their pass rush isn't quite there, but their secondary will get the job done for them. I think they're going to take advantage of Kyler Murray's young play style. They're running the ball, things like that, and I think he's going to have an off day.
Yep. Next guy is Josh Jacobs. The Raiders are playing. Who this week are the Raiders? They're playing a pretty good run defense. I feel like we both talked about this before the podcast. We thought that Josh Jacobs will not have a top game this year. This week, he's not been particularly fantastic this year. They're playing Denver. So I got to keep running defense. He's only put up like 12 points on average. He's had 120-point game almost. He's not been the Josh Jacobs we really know.
Of course, they have that offensive line issues that were going on, and just because once again, a run is only as good as their offensive line. And the fact that the offensive line isn't quite healthy, Josh Jacobs, we're not seeing him as well as we should.
Booms, Allen Robinson's coming in at #1. Allen Robinson.
They're playing Minnesota.
Yep.
Minnesota. Alex, sure, I know you know this. Minnesota secondary has been not quite there. There's a lot of young guys, injury prone, a lot of very, very young, some of them practice squad guys, and I think Allen Robinson's going to have a field day because you have a guy like Allen Robinson who's one of the most underrated wide receivers in the league. And I think when it comes to whoever Nick Foles, they have to target Allen Robinson. I think they will. to win this game this week versus Minnesota.
Yep. Come on, number 2 for the Booms is Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette, since coming back from his injury problems, he's been used as the number 1 guy for the Bucs. He had a good game last week, but he's gonna start feeding the ball. He's good in the red zone. He'll be used and he'll get some touchdowns. The third guy, again, Terry McLaurin playing that beleaguered secondary of the Detroit Lions. He's gonna have a fantastic game. Last guy, Dolphins running back Myles Gaskins got hurt. He's out for 2 more weeks with an MCL sprain.
Matt Breida.
Matt Breida is a guy who's going to be their starter. They had Jordan Howard as their starter. He's more of a power back. We all know who Jordan Howard is at this point.
Matt Breida definitely
He's going to be their guy.
Last year on the San Francisco 49ers, we know how good San Fran is at the run when it comes to the run. Breida showed out last year, and because his speed is what makes him what he is. He's very fast. He has great strength. But I think he's a great for you guys for Booms this week. Put him at flex if you have, like, for example, someone on bye. If we're talking about buys this week, he was on bye. The Chiefs, if you have any Chiefs players on buys, Sammy Watkins, Demarcus Robinson, any of those guys that are on your bye, Matt Breida is a perfect replacement.
If you guys like this episode, please let us know. Let us know on Instagram. Let us know in YouTube comments. Like the episode would help a lot. And if you guys really enjoy this, we will do more of this.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for watching. If you did, like and subscribe. Remember, as Jones said, comment down below what you guys want us to see. We'll see you guys next time.